something I've never seen before. When you put on the pineapple, we couldn't be friends anymore. Pineapple bouncers, go on pizza. It's a fruit and you know that. Pineapple bouncers, go on pizza. They just don't belong.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Black and White Show. And yes, it's me. I've finally gotten my big time shot. I am presenting. Happy days. Got a lot to get through. Transfer speculation later on the show. We're going to talk about the new boys which have just recently arrived at the club. So that's section 1. Section 2 is more about the midweek game with Everton. Obviously, the last couple of minutes there was fantastic, shall we say. And then obviously section 3, we're going to look and talk about that dreadful performance yesterday at Oxford. And then section 4, we're going to be talking a little bit about transfers because this is the last show before deadline day closes on Friday. So of course, we want your WhatsApp messages. You can see the number on screen, 0747 649 7166. I'm going to jump straight into the WhatsApp. I'll read some of your comments out during the show. But we've got a couple which has come through, and Rohan has sent us a message, and I'll get Johnny to answer this one since he's right next to us. I'll do the introductions in a moment. He says, I think Joe Linton in previous weeks has been one of our better players. I was at the game yesterday, and there were several times he made runs where he would have been clean through, and he didn't receive the ball. It really goes down to service with Joe Linton more than anything. Johnny, you did make a lot of runs. Couple of offside goals. We'll talk more on Joe Linton during the show, but brighter, would you probably describe his performance? That's what I would.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at his game yesterday, I thought out of the 3 attackers, yes, Almiron did runs, but I think Joe Linton looked like scoring. He did score 2 goals, but he made some fantastic runs, as you've mentioned. Look, Joe Linton's always going to get criticised until he gets a bit of a goal-scoring run, but it's encouraging. Yes, it was League One Oxford and League One Rochdale where he's looked a little bit sharper, but I thought the Chelsea game he did look a little bit like, right, maybe we've turned a tiny bit of a corner, but he needs to get goals as soon as possible. Then
I would agree, and then we'll move on to a second WhatsApp, and then we'll do the introductions and we'll crack on with the show. So Paul, a big shout out, is one of our members. He's been in his element today because his little daughter was a mascot for the women's side, which was fantastic. Not only that, they managed to win for her, which is absolutely brilliant. I know Paul's been buzzing, old school, happy dad today, so a big shout out to Paul. He just wants to say a big thank you to Becky Langley, who arranged it all, which is fantastic. And it just goes to show you that it's not just the men's side of things, the women's have a lot more. You can approach them, and Becky and the club and the photographer have done a lot for him, Paul himself and Gabrielle. There'll be a video on that on the Under 23 channel, so keep an eye on that. Paul's going to go a little bit more in depth as he's recorded it. But thank you very much. Get your WhatsApp messages in. Remember the screen, the numbers on screen, so we'll want your messages and we'll read them out and ask everyone the questions as we go during the show. And we'll get on with the introduction. So, you've already heard from Johnny, which is next to us. How's your week been?
Very busy, as normal.
Was it cheeky?
Very cheeky. Very cheeky. No, it's been good, obviously. it's nice to see Newcastle do well. Obviously, I think the Everton game's been will get discussed. I was actually in Barrow when this was all happening, not a million miles away from Merseyside, but
yeah, I bumped into you, didn't I?
Yeah, T-based services, which is
motorway friends.
Kylie were like, it's like ducks and like little family day out. It was like,
I'm not the Queen, I don't appreciate all the swans and that.
You know what it is, Kylie? They do a great English breakfast as well, by
the
way. Yeah.
Spot on. Breakfast on the motorway, mate. Not for them places. I'm tight like that. Your week's good. Obviously you've heard from Kyle there as well. What have you been up to this week? Obviously you were down Everton with me, but apart from that,
not much really, mate. Just preparing for uni next week, but other than that, pretty good.
Student life, Rob. It's quieter in the corner.
Oh no, anything but quiet. It's been pretty busy. But yes, it's still plodding along. This is kind of the highlight of my week, doing this actually.
Oh well, nice to have you, Rob. Rob obviously travels from Darlow. But let's crack on with the show. Obviously, the news with the takeover, we'll want to talk about that a little bit later on, the last section. And that's basically just down to because, look, some people get a little bit tired about talking about takeovers, me being one of them because I didn't believe it out to say. But this section is we're going to talk about the new boys. First of all, and I want to just briefly talk about Bentaleb first. 25-year-old, I think it's a good age for me.
It's a great age when you're 25.
Stick 9 years on that. And over 35 caps, that's experience, now on loan. What's he going to bring to our side, Rob? Left-footed player. We'll talk more on his performance later, but he was quite deep when he played against Oxford. But what do you make of him? What's he going to bring to Newcastle?
Well, I do like him as a player. I think he's got great quality, which we saw at Spurs, and I follow the Bundesliga quite avidly. So he did well during his time at Schalke. Of course, this season it's not really been his season whilst at the Royal Blues. But I think for us, he's a really good holding midfielder. Likes to sit deep, and I sort of think of him as N'Golo Kante, but of course nowhere near as good. But he
nowhere near as good.
But he fulfills that same sort of role, similar to like Idrissa Gueye.
So do you think he's going to be more, not so much a rival? Well, no. Is he Hayden's rival? Is that what he's here? Is he going to sit in that defensive midfield role?
He's going to give him competition.
Do you think that's needed?
Well, I think there were certain positions that could have been better. To be honest, I wasn't really concerned about the central midfield role. I wasn't concerned whether we were going to get any reinforcements in that area. But I think it's a good time to strengthen, though.
Okay.
Because we are prone to having central midfield crises like we had last season, like we've kind of had this season a couple of times this season. So luckily, I think Bentaleb's arrival will certainly avoid that from happening during the second half of the campaign.
I don't think we've been hit as bad as centre midfield this year. But Kyle, do you remember from Spurs? And if you do, what do you remember of them?
Good young up and coming talent. Always good with the ball, and I disagree with Rob. Actually, I think he's more of a threat to Sean Longstaff than he is to Isaac Hayden. I think he plays the ball well. He can hold the midfield, and he showed against Oxford in bits that he can control the midfield and really is effective on both sides of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Hopefully, he gets a bit more out of Sean as well, because as we'll talk about probably later on, he hasn't been as good as he was back in the last season before his injury.
I would have to agree. Yeah, I remember being a Spurs. He was a young lad, and he came through. And he's more. It's when Spurs,
and scored against us.
He did his only goal for Spurs. More of a rotate lad trying to break through. And then, of course, he went to Schalke, initially on loan to play first team football, and it was made a permanent deal and press there. But I'll have to bring it up. He's disciplinary. I've looked into it a little bit more today.
Never shy of getting a yellow card.
It's more off the field problems though. So when he went to Schalke and obviously was loaned and made permanent, it was alleged that Bentaleb didn't agree with Dominic Tedesco, if I've said that right.
Yeah.
Where to play him. So he had a disagreement with Tedesco where he wanted to play. He wanted to play in the number 6 role, which is what effectively is, you would say, just in front of the back 4 or back 5. But he wanted to play him further up the field, and there was disagreements there, and it caused a lot of conflict. And Bentaleb just wouldn't accept his coach's criticism or concern that I want to play you further upfield. Johnny, is that a concern?
A little bit, not massively.
Don't worry, I've got more to come.
Yeah, I was going to say not massively, but I think we saw little sparks from yesterday what he wants to do. I think yesterday I personally thought he wanted to be a bit quicker. I think he wanted to make the game a bit quicker. I thought he was. If obviously we'll talk about Sean's performance later, but I just felt with Bentaleb, he was going right. Can we get to the pitch a bit quicker? Can we go from A to B a slightly quicker way? But I wouldn't be too concerned, to be brutally honest, at this time.
Okay. His next coach was Hoob Stevens, if I'm getting pronunciations.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
My Spaghetti Deutsch isn't great. But so he was in, and a lot of the players were asked to come in against Leipzig. A lot of the injured players, so Bentaleb was injured at the moment. He was asked just to attend the match, and not just him, but a couple of other players didn't turn up, and Bentaleb was at hospital with his wife. It's one of them, innit? Kyle, do you choose your wife, or do you choose your job?
Happy life, happy wife, right? I suppose you choose the wife, but you don't know what's going on. It could have been a personal issue, she could be in hospital. You don't know, mate. It's one of them. But for me, I just want to focus on his time at Newcastle. Clean slate, he's at the Toon. See what he does on performances in a black and white shirt. Because we did the same with Steve Bruce. Don't concentrate on Hull or whatever, wherever he's been. It's Yana now, Newcastle United. See what he can do.
He also, this goes even further with his disciplinary. I'll come to you, Rob. He also didn't turn up with some other players to actually learn a bit of German. And it's not just him. It wasn't just him. It was one or two others. So it seems to be more and more I read this out, and these notes that I've got, it seemed to be more of a club and a player issue here. But he didn't turn up, and he was also again demoted to the reserves for the second time and hasn't played since. Johnny thinks there isn't much concern, but I've read out that's in the space of about a year. That's quite a lot in a 12-month period.
Well, yeah, that is concerning. But I think in terms of not wanting to learn the language, I think some players, they are entitled to choose not to learn the residential language and rather just concentrate on their game, trying to improve. Of course, there is a problem of a language barrier in terms of communication on the field, but if you're able to commune in a language that he understands on the field and on the training pitch, then you could say he's entitled to say, I want to concentrate on my football.
Good point. And I said this to Kel when we were filming outside James Park, he wasn't shocked, Kyle, you weren't, but I was, and he's like straight in the lineup, considering he hasn't played for almost a year now. Is his match fitness, Johnny, a concern, or has he proven that he played 65 minutes, that another week's training? Or do you think it'll be gradually, because I think with Oxford, you can risk him against Oxford, but next week at Norwich, does he start for you?
Do you know what it is? I probably would start him next week, and the only reason is because of the form of Sean Longstaff. I think at the minute, I think most people would agree Isaac Hayden, and then you've got somebody else as who's going to be with Isaac Hayden. But when you look at Bentaleb, I thought Bentaleb was he was
some nice touches though.
Yeah, he wasn't amazing, but I just thought he was obviously better than Sean yesterday. But is there anybody really? They look at other options, like Shelby doesn't look 100% fit at the minute. I feel like a Russian ASM, but if you look at the actual centre midfielders or centre midfielding options, I would say that it has to be Isaac Hayden and either Matty or Nabil Bentaleb. And I think for me, as much as Matty's had a good season, I think Bentaleb's more experienced. He's played in a couple of divisions. I would probably start Bentaleb and Hayden in centre midfield. But when you look at our right back situation, Hayden can also do a job there. So if it was me, I would probably still stick with Yedlin at right back, and I would go Bentaleb and Hayden in the centre midfield. But at the minute, nobody is keeping Isaac Hayden at that team. But from what I saw from Bentaleb for the 75 minutes, 80 minutes he was on the pitch, I just thought he was a little bit brighter. Yes, you can talk about the fitness. That's probably the main concern for him.
I want everyone's opinion on this one. The final question before we move on to Valentino Lazaro is, who would you pick going forward, assuming everybody's at midfield is fit? Rob, we'll start with you.
Isaac Hayden, definitely. And I think you might want to take into account the way, like how much John Joe Shelby takes out of his out of the wage budget, because at the same day, if he's taken that much out, you might want to play him with Bentaleb, a decent backup. But in terms of quality, we want to see Hayden in there for sure. And I'd say it would be more like a toss-up, a bit like when Shea Given and Steve Harper took turns at going in goal back in the early noughties.
Kyle, who's your centre two?
It's a difficult one. I agree with Johnny. Actually, I'd play.
You're dropping Eddie 29.
No. I'd play.
Oh no! He's backtracking.
I'd play Isaac Hayden on the right hand side because I think we've got loads. We've got loads of troubles on the right hand side at the minute. I think Hayden's a good fold in that position. That being said, I would stick with Sean Longstaff. Got to stick with me boy, man. Everyone was on the bandwagon when he was doing great, and the Man City man of the match and things like that. We've got to back him, man, when he's not playing so well. He will come good. We've just got to give him a run in the team. He hasn't had that this season. Got to remember, he's had a major injury. He's only played, 23, 24 games this season? 23, 24 games in his career at Newcastle. So, for me, so just a lack of inexperience. You've got to back him because we're on his day, and he's shown it a couple of times this season. We're a better team with Sean Longstaff in it.
Okay. I'm going to be reading some of your WhatsApp messages out towards the end of this first section. I'm getting all Dutch there. I want to bring up a Valentino Lazaro, and then we'll read out your WhatsApp. So get your WhatsApp messages in, and then we'll read them out before the next ad break. So Valentino Lazaro turns 24 in March. A right-sided midfielder, can also fill in over the left side. His career started at Salzburg, got his big move. He speaks the language. It was easy for him to go to the German Bundesliga in 2017 with Hertha. Impressed there enough for Inter to splash out over 20 million for him. Similar fate to Miggy. However, he's found it tough at Inter in total in the Champions League, Coppa Italia and Serie A. He's only made 11 appearances all season, playing second fiddle to the Italian international Antonio Candreva. Scored against us, didn't he, in one of the tournaments? I think it was the Euros or the World Cup.
What, Candreva?
It was
Euro 2016.
He scored against them. Has 3 goals for Austria, so he can chip in from 28 caps. Quite cultured, actually. Born in Austria, has an Angolan father, a Greek mother, and now has played in 4 different countries at just the age of 23. Speaks perfect English. That's what probably most I was surprised about. A bit of American twang, so maybe he's been watching a bit of too much American TV. I think DeAndre Yedlin will get on well with him. How much does he need to settle now, Johnny, in just one place? I've just mentioned 4 countries in the space of 2.5 years.
I think he does need to settle straight into Newcastle because it is the Premier League. I know we've got first dibs, or well, not dibs is probably not the correct phrase.
No, dibs is the correct word. Don't want to be going into that dictionary,
no,
do we?
It seems that we've got first say at the end of the season. If he does well for Newcastle now at the end of the season, that we can buy him for around about £20 million. So he has got something to prove. But I think maybe just for his own career, he's still obviously relatively young. And I think maybe he just needs a couple of years at a football club. Look, Inter Milan is a huge club, and they seem to be buying Premier League players. Like Giroud have been linked, but they've bought likes of Ashley Young and Victor Moses. So at the minute, he's not going to get into that team with those sort of players because they're completely different players. With Lazaro, maybe his intensity, his pace. Look, he's something different. We haven't had competition for places.
It sounds too much for Lazaro to me. It sounds too much similar for me.
Hopefully
he's got to be a bit better than Lazaro. Christ.
There's just them 2 words are too similar.
No.
Rob, I'll come to you on this one again. Was he bringing a side? And secondly, where's his competition? Who is it?
I like to see him play at right wing back. That seems to be he's a right wing specialist. If you like, he just bombs up and down all the way throughout the 90 minutes of a game down that right hand side. So I'd say DeAndre Yedlin, he's not hit the heights this season. Javi Manquillo, he's done a decent job when called upon, but he's just been out with a few matches a few too many times. And I think as far as Emil Kraft goes, I think we've seen an improved Emil Kraft play at centre back this season. So I'd say Lazaro will bring a lot of really good competition to that right side of attack. And I think after seeing him in the years when he was at Hertha BSC, under the manager Pal Dardai, who's no longer the manager there, but certainly played his best football under Dardai. And I kind of reckon I see a lot of Bruce's tactics and also Dardai's tactics. Excellent man management, also sort of likes to play counter-attacking, tends to go a little bit defensive every now and then. But yeah,
every now and then.
All
the time.
What about playing him further up top, Kyle? Is that a possibility? In terms of how you've got Almiron, you've got saint-maximin. Can Lazaro do a job there instead? Did that give Bruce more options? You think he's got it in him?
I think he can, yeah. I mean, I initially thought he was coming in as a bit of depth in that position because, as we all know, and as Paul knows in particular, Christian Atsu this season has been absolutely abysmal this season. Christian Atsu, he's done nothing but lose the ball to the opposition. I know he's got 3 assists, but by God, I don't know how. He's been shocking this season, Christian Atsu, and I think he needs that kick up the backside he needs by having Lazaro there as competition, because there's no guarantee now he's going to be even on the bench. I mean, look at Mutu, he fell down the squad. So for me, Lazaro can play where Rob has said, and he can play on the wing as well. So that's good for Newcastle in terms of squad depth, because we clearly need it.
Does everyone agree that everyone here, including yourself, Johnny, is that he gives not just a right wing back position? He comes in, obviously he's a threat to Mankiw, Kraft and Yedlin, but also to Atsu as well.
Yeah, for sure. But what I would say about Atsu, yes, he doesn't offer you much going forward. And
Johnny loves Atsu.
I don't love him, but defensively he can do a job for us. We've seen games, probably more under Rafa than we did under Steve Bruce at the minute, where he defensively for 60, 70 minutes he would do what he was told to do, and he has helped us out that way. But attacking wise, he just does not offer anything. He struggled at times against Oxford and against Rochdale to really cause an attacking threat. But Lazaro, for me, he's just got to grasp the opportunity. You know, he's going to play against some very, very big teams. He's going to play the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City. So he's going to have some big games to kind of show what he's all about. But what I would like to see is the license to be able to do that and not to be and not to be so disciplined. The only question I would say is if Lazaro does do very well, then ASM.
Stolen me thunder for the next question.
About ASM and Almiron, with their positions. I think Almiron at the minute can't really be dropped, but ASM, I don't think he was.
If Lazaro comes in, I'm all for Almiron being dropped if he performs well. I think it's good competition, and that if you have Lazaro comes in and he sets the world alight, I think it's a good thing for Saint-Maximin and Almiron to say, well, wait a minute, I've got a bit of competition there, I have to up the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, but what I'm saying is if Lazaro does well, who are you dropping out of them to? Because I wouldn't be dropping Almiron at the minute.
Yeah, because
I wouldn't drop Maximin either. No way.
Yeah, despite him having we'll come on to Saint-Maximin with his tweets later on in the show as well. Which signing, and I'll ask everyone this, excites you the most out of those two, Johnny?
Ooh, good question. Well, I didn't think we'd actually go for a centre mid over the January window. So I think personally, I would probably go Bentaleb.
Really?
Yeah, just because of the fact that
do you know more about Lazaro?
You know more, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a great deal about Lazaro, but with Bentaleb, we know what he's about. He did okay at Tottenham, and he's still quite young at Tottenham as well. He's had a couple of years, obviously, with Schalke and Tottenham, and now he goes into Newcastle with experience, and we could potentially buy him for £10 million at the end of the season.
8.5.
It's 8.5. Well, so not even £10 million for a player like Bentaleb. And if he can keep on doing these performances like we saw in glimpses yesterday, it's an absolute steal.
Kyle?
Best sign out the two. Bentaleb's the one we know most about, but we've needed an extra winger late for a long time, and I think Lazaro's a bit more exciting personally. Bentaleb's a safe option, don't get us wrong, and we know more about him, but there's a bit of that unpredictability about Lazaro, and I really hope that comes to light when he plays, because we're going to need that in a way, because if Maximin and Almiron hasn't really worked out in games, we haven't really shown an outlet, so there's an extra outlet there. So I really hope he can kick on and confirm his move at Newcastle and spend many a year, hopefully.
Rob, are you in the same boat?
I kind of agree with everything that was said, really. Nothing more to add, to be honest.
Oh, thanks for coming on the show.
So I'll see you later. See you next week.
I'll probably agree because you know a little bit more about Bentaleb. I think there's a little bit of me that I'm a little bit excited of not knowing what Lazaro's going to bring. You could be the type of player that might take on two players and fall on his backside. So
it could be another Jacob Murphy, who knows?
I hope not. I'm going to read out some of your live chat and some of your WhatsApp messages, and then we're going to jump to an ad break. So in the live chat we have Atsu had some young skills like Jacob Murphy, never really took it to the next level. Jack says we should play we should play 5-4-1 with Lazaro and ESM on the wings.
Paul has spoken, Lee.
I will come to Paul in a moment. Miggy in front of the... So basically Jack's saying we should have Lazaro and ESM on the wings with Miggy in front of the CMs. That's quite an attacking force, that. Bentaleb has experience in European competitions, says Vivid Archer. Yeah, Atsu was a fraud, says Paul. Paul and Atsu have this love-hate relationship with Christmas songs.
Love-hate relationship, more like love-to-hate relationship.
No, it's a love-hate relationship.
I think it's very one-way.
I think they need to get together in a room, and I think it's a bit of chemistry that's going on between these two.
It's not a FIFA Ultimate Team League.
Let Sean and ESM get fit in the reserves.
I agree massively with that.
Possibly maybe give him an hour 123s.
I think for me personally, especially at ASM, he doesn't look fit to me. For the 2 games that we've seen him against Chelsea and Oxford, that lad does not look fit. I think he's been rushed back, and I think the best thing for him would be is this week rest again before we play Norwich. But I wouldn't start him against Norwich if he's not 100%, because I'd rather have 20 minutes of him where he's full throttle. Especially in Sean as well. I think he just needs a breather. I think he just needs. I think even if Matty goes in the team above him, just to kind of give him a kick on the backside.
He'd be a good impact sub, wouldn't he?
Yeah, we've seen him go off the bench before. He got the shot that against Southampton, which Fernandez scored right at the end. So he can make an impact. I just think he maybe just needs somebody to go above him in the pecking order. And I think especially if it was Matty, then that would be something else for him, really.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the Longstaff household, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're all sport man, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
We've got a WhatsApp coming from Lewis. Thanks for your message, Lewis. And he says, I think Steve Bruce has done a very good job under the circumstances, and fans aren't willing to give him enough credit because of his CV in his past jobs. If Rafa had came out and said that he wanted a cup run and be mid-table, 7 points above the relegation zone, fans will call him a god. Now, I'm one of them, and there's a lot of people in this room that didn't want Steve Bruce and criticise him, but I think me and you in particular, Kyle, have probably mellowed quite a bit, and he's doing a good job, though, isn't he?
Well, I said from the start, Lee, even when HITC put in a bit of a clip saying Bruce give away a chance, no. Even when that happened, I still says we'll judge him on his time here, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It's not the man we wanted, but it's the man we got, and to be fair, bar probably some of the worst performances I've ever seen as a Newcastle fan, we're getting by, and that's what we need to do. And with all the off the field antics, it's never really stopped since he came in. Started with a protest of Arsenal, the tune for change, and it's rolled on all season long. And now we're starting to get takeover rumours again. Just before Bruce came in, they kind of died down with the BCG group, and then obviously it's starting to pick up again with, as we'll talk about later, but we've had so much antics off the field. He's managed to handle that well.
And Mike Ash's name's hardly been sung.
Well, exactly. So something. He's doing something right, is Bruce. So
which is doing more wrong, which is what he wanted.
Yeah, fair play to him.
We do have a takeover question. The takeover, we're not massively talking. We are a little bit later on, but if you want to get
big
questions,
news, Lee.
It is big news, but I had the show prepared. But we will answer your questions on takeover, so we'll do it for that tonight. And Dougie from Ashton, quite a believer on this one, Rob. Believes it's going to happen, says Dougie.
It's a great song, that. I'm a believer.
Right,
well, it was.
It was until Johnny just murdered it. He reckons it could happen. Now, obviously, we're seeing the reports that, and I have to stress 90% certain, that the media love this stuff, and don't get me wrong, they love the clicks and the bait and the traffic that it brings.
They know it works.
Yeah, because it gets fans clicking.
Hashtag cans and all that.
It used to work. It used to work, but I think it's certainly reached a point now where 99.9% of Newcastle fans, they're just either fed up with it. They don't really want to know about it until it's fully gone through.
Well, he thinks it's happened. What's your gut instinct?
No, not true.
Right then.
Just another one of those 75 other takeover talks that we've had.
Unfortunately, yeah. Well, we'll talk again. Get your questions in for WhatsApp. We're going to have a quick ad break. In section 2, we're going to be talking about Everton and that horrible game, but incredible comeback. So stay tuned. Yeah, another Radio North East. Radio North East. We're going to be talking about Everton in a lot more detail in a moment. But just speaking of the teams from Merseyside, listen to this scoreline. And we all got upset with Oxford, but currently Shrewsbury Town 2, Liverpool 2. That looks like it's one hell of a game going on. So stick it on.
And we're stuck here.
Put it on mute and keep us live. But yeah, that seems to be an interesting time. That might go to a replay. So we're going to be talking about Everton. We're going to play a clip in just a second, which is reaction, and there's also a bit of goal commentary as well in there, so you'll enjoy that. And then we're going to be talking about the game a little bit more in depth. So lads, fire away and play that clip, please.
Oh, and he's hit the woodwork, and Hayden. And can they keep it out? Can they stick it in? It's chaos in the penalty area. And it's given. It's over the line. It's remarkable. Newcastle United have come back from the dead here. Oh, it's absolutely extraordinary. Newcastle haven't shown any real hopes of getting back in the game. It's clearly over the line.
Yeah, happy. Amazing finish today. So, just was difficult game against Everton. The last 5 minutes was crazy, but this is football now. Yes, just I'm happy to play to help the team. Today I was on the bench, so when you go on the pitch, you try to help, to give all on the pitch. So I tried on the corner to put my first goal. So today I'm happy.
I mean, look, we've got middle of midfield players playing centre forward, a centre half playing in middle of midfield. And with the problems that we've had over the last few weeks, they were in abundance when Joe picked up an injury after 50 minutes. And we didn't have anything to change with in terms of strikers. So we've asked people to play out of position, showed a bit of spirit, and that hard work and that desire they've got to help each other. Our best spell in the game was the last 10 minutes, and arguably we looked better, with people playing out of position. I think they were fresh, and the team tonight, unfortunately, wasn't. And that's the result of playing people who, it's their fourth game in 9-10 days, is it? And using the same people who've been out for a while, like Matt Ritchie and Jamal and people like that. It was a big struggle for us, but their effort and their resilience and their determination is there again for everybody to see.
So that was the goal. I bet you enjoyed that. Flanders, you obviously got injured. We'll talk about that shortly. And your nan, Steve Bruce, it looks like your nan, doesn't he? And entertaining, we're going to jump straight to it. Remember, get your WhatsApp messages in. We'll be reading them out. If you want to talk about the takeover, Everton, Oxford, transfers in, out, question to any of the lads, get them in. You can say it on screen. It's 0747 649 7166. Pop us a WhatsApp and we'll read your comment. Remember to leave your name as well. I'll read out some of your live chat before we crack onto this. And I do apologise if I don't pronounce it. I think it's Icelandic.
Swedish.
Oh God! You've just blatantly insulted someone. Right, this is Lee's first and last time presenting.
I'm leaving. I didn't see the comment. It says, hello guys from Sweden. I got a question. Is Krath out in the cold? I think that's meant to say, or is he injured? I think Johnny's more in the cold a bit. He's a bit down the pecking order.
Well, he's out. He's actually out for 6 weeks. Steve Bruce mentioned on Friday in his press conference it's more of a ligament injury. So at the minute he's injured. But
even if he was fit.
But even if he was fit, I would say that when you look at Yedlin yesterday, I think me and Kyle, well, me and Rob, because we scored against Sunderland, so I think me and Rob would definitely get a game for Newcastle at right back at the minute. But I don't know. It's a position that we need to strengthen, and maybe Lazaro is the person that could be the saviour, but he hasn't really done anything, hasn't he? He hasn't really let light out.
I see what
exploded.
I see what Rob said earlier, because when he's actually played centre back a short period of time, he does actually look a little bit better.
Could be a decent replacement for Dummett.
I don't know for long term and during the game, but there's another comment coming as well on the live chat, and it's actually it's about and I'm sure we'll talk about those little hands.
Don't avoid this one, Lee. Oh. The full name of the bloke that's linked to Bywit is in the comment. Please tell us his full name.
I can't actually say
No,
it.
it should be there.
I'll
give it.
It's about halfway down.
I'll give it a go.
Go on then.
Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz bin Abdul Rahman bin Fazl bin Turkey bin Abdullah bin Mohammed bin Saud.
Do you like bins and Mohammed or something?
I'd tell her to
give us a 7 out of 10.
A few pronunciations there.
More bins than Liverpool, that Christ.
But one of the questions was about Pickford, and this is more of a question on him, Kyle, since you're a big fan of Jordan Pickford.
Big fan, love him.
The question came in before, and I've missed it off the live chat, but it did say, does he focus too much on Newcastle when we play?
I don't care.
Because he's a Macca. Should he focus on blocking that out?
I don't care. He was behind the line. He tried to catch the ball with his little hands. I don't care, mate. I really don't. It's 2-2. We played the worst I've seen we play in a long time and managed to nick a point in the last 2 minutes. It's just fantastic. Regardless of who's in goal, it just feels more satisfying that it just so happens to be a little Macam in goal.
Let's get on the game and the lineup. Let's bring it on screen. So, no ESM. He was rested, of course. Carroll didn't make it. For me, the bench looked very weak. It was full of defenders. More on that in a moment. So the game was Dubravka in goal, and it was Hayden, Fernandez, Lascelles, Clark, Ritchie, Almiron, the Longstaff brothers, Atsu, and Joe Linton. So that was the lineup. The first half, we were so poor. I think off the top of my head, I can only remember the Joe Linton header. But Newcastle didn't create nothing. This is a common theme. Probably we'll talk about Oxford as well. Everton obviously went in front, but did they deserve the lead, Johnny?
Newcastle started okay. It wasn't amazing, but they were okay. But it seemed like Everton kind of grew into the game 15-20 minutes in. And they did have a couple of chances before they scored. Moise Keane obviously hadn't scored up to that point. We did have a shot which Dubravka parried comfortably, I think, because I think if he tried to...
on the ball, or weren't it? Was all
It was all them, but we're used to that anyway. I think we had more possession once this season in the Premier League, and obviously you can take the cup games where we have more possession as well.
We haven't won any of them.
We haven't, but what I will say in regards to Everton is that the likes of Bernard, likes having the ball, Calvert-Lewin, Keane, like Everton actually went for Ancelotti, went for a 2 up top at home, which I'd love to see at Newcastle, but I think before the first goal came in, if anyone was going to score, it was going to be Everton. Didn't think it'd be Moise Keane. I did think Calvert-Lewin was going to get on the score sheet first beforehand, but he took the goal relatively well, but I think Dubravka would be a bit disappointed.
You're leaving me lovely on. Rob, do I have to point the finger at two people here? Obviously, Johnny's just said Dubravka. I feel like he has to be saving that. I know he played well during the game, but for me, he has to save that. But also, Fernandez is half a kit and Moise Keane's behind him and he goes and scores. Do you look at both of those and think, lads, these are both at fault here?
Yeah, I think you just answered your own question there. I do think it's a combination of the two. Yes, Dubravka will definitely feel that he should have saved that. Any Premier League goalkeeper would say that they should have saved that because it's more or less straight at him. It just squirms onto his body, doesn't it? But the fact that Keane was able to get into that position in the first place, you've got to ask questions of the defence there. And like you say, Fernandez is the one who's a billion miles away from where he should be, and he's just asleep there.
Yeah, I think we've got to look at both of them. Kenny asked where was Shelby, but Shelby wasn't brought on. Well, I'll talk more about the substitutions and all the defenders, because at the time we were not a very happy bunch, put it that way. Half time came, Kyle. And I think that we're lucky just to be 1-0 down.
We really were. A couple of really good saves from Dubravka. You talked about the first goal, but being his fault. But I think you've seen it later as it went through the legs of Hayden beforehand. But Dubravka kept winning it in many ways, and we felt fortunate to be going 1-0 down because it felt very similar to the Villa game a couple of months ago, where we dominated, and once we kind of went behind, it was like, oh well, it's going to be a long night this. But going into the second half, very little hope we could do anything because we weren't getting the ball to the striker very well, and we were just struggling, and we were getting out-battled in every department, mate. Every battle.
Well, I was saying to Paul, obviously we were at the front row as three, and I said, you know what it is, I think I'll take 1-0, but going in 1-0 down at this rate. It was. I know Newcastle didn't play well, but we haven't really. And I've said this to you, I said it to you yesterday, I think my best performance is, funny enough, that 20-minute spell at home against Everton, where we were just peppering shots and we haven't been like that all season. We'll go into the second half. The goal came fairly quickly. It was within 10 minutes of the restart. Calvert-Lewin, who's banging in the goals, and I've said this.
He bangs them in past us.
Well, he's got loads of goals. You talk about Danny Ings and you talk about Calvert-Lewin. Both of those lads are a massive shout. With Harry Kane, is he going to be fit at the end of the season? But he gets ahead of Lascelles, Johnny, and is it Jamal Lascelles' fault? Is he a bit rash?
A little bit, but it's a good pass from Digne from Everton. Look, Lascelles has just gambled. He really has just gambled to try to see, can I get in front of him? But it's good. It's good play from Calvert-Lewin. Obviously, good first touch out, and then puts in the back of the net. But yeah, I think Lascelles will be slightly disappointed because I think he's literally gone, can I get in front of him? And he does, but the ball is just too good. And he's a good player, Lucas Digne, and he plays it through to Calvert-Lewin, and you kind of expect him to score now, which is probably the biggest compliment I can give him.
First choice now.
First choice at Everton. If Rashford and Kane are both unfit for England, he's got to be in the reckoning for sure. But I did think at that point, I feared the worst. I feared that it's going to be a defeat, and I thought, well, I'm glad I didn't make the small trip from Barrow to the blue half of Merseyside.
Vivid Archer says in the live chat, Bradford's made more saves in the Premier League than any other goalkeeper. So we're not seeing a bad game. I just think that goal, the first
kept the score down.
Yeah, he was loads. He was peppered, wasn't he? Obviously, John Joe has that lingering muscle issue. Says essentially bat. Obviously, people asking about Shelby as well, which touched upon very shortly. We're 2-0 down. Bruce brings on 3 defenders. In particular, we didn't know at the time. Kyle, I'm going to come to you because you were there with us. You've seen the moans and groans. I was one of them. I was questioning it big time. All these defenders...
Is it not in the vlog?
It is. Go and check the vlog out. But all these defenders coming on, and he took Joe Linton off, and we were all asking, and I think it's probably, for me personally, the first time I've seen Steve Bruce heavily criticised for his subs. But at that point, I know it came back.
It's just crazy, man.
But we brought 3 defenders on whilst we're 2-0 down, and he brings his striker off. Yes, I know he's not firing on all cylinders, but everyone's looking around thinking, what the hell is going on? And I'm saying that politely.
Yeah.
I think you heard what was going on.
I was one of them frustratedly. I was.
What was he thinking? Because you had Tom Allen and you had John Joe Shelby, and that was why everyone was in the stadium thinking, well, wait a minute, you've got a lad who's banging the goals in, but then you've got John Joe.
Shelby's not fit.
But he could have played 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
He's not fit.
If he's not fit,
he's not fit, why is he on the bench?
That's the question.
But for me, I think you see him, it's 2-0. We haven't had a shot on target at the time. I think he's put as many on as possible to shut up shop, basically.
And damage limitation.
Yeah, damage limitation. I think he's went for. And unbelievably, when Joe Linton went off, we actually looked like we had more of a focal point without a striker on the field. And ironically, it was Sean Longstaff who was up top for the last 20 minutes.
Wasn't having Shea in defensive mid
and Shea went up into midfield. It's the most bizarre game I've ever seen. I mean, in me quick thoughts, which you can check out, another shameless plug, but I called it something of a different nature, which I'll not repeat on this show. But yeah, it's the jammiest performance I've ever seen. We were dominated for 90 minutes, mate. 90 minutes, not one shot on goal. Me and Paul were laughing at each other. There's a shot on target, and he's laughing. We'll get a point. Yeah, and watch, he got one. So I don't know how, but we managed it.
Well, I want to talk about the first and second goal, but then I want to ask everyone where you were at that moment, because I think it's a good field factor. When the first one went in, I exactly remember when I sent a Paul against, at least we've scored. That was it. It wasn't
exactly what I said.
It wasn't like we can get back into this. It wasn't that feeling like, we've scored. I didn't know. It was a great finish by Flan Lejeune. The second goal obviously was a bit chaotic, but in the last few moments, in the last few
I know I'm playing Oxford soon, but Christ.
In the last few minutes, what was the initial feeling, Kyle, from the 92nd where we're 2-0 down? You think, I just want to get home.
It was more.
And then just the euphoria. I mean, Paul's going up and shaking everyone and all that. You're jumping at him as usual. And what was the emotions? It was just from. Because it was just a flick of the switch. It wasn't like it was gradually happening. It was so fast paced, and then the Richie long ball comes in.
Fernandez has it. It's
blasts
a
off the
post.
post, comes back out.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't know who was going. We all thought it was Hayden then.
I thought Pickford saved it, to be honest, mate. I just seen it hit him. He goes on the floor, he holds it, and then they give the goal and they're running towards all the players. Really crazy scenes. It was
He
both,
saved it, but it was behind the
it was both. It was like relief that we got a point and just hilarity at the same time, because it's like we got a point out of this. How bad we played, and it is probably the third worst I've seen we play the season, behind, actually fourth behind Oxford now, but at the time Leicester and Norwich away. Forward to pick up a point out with that, just so jammy. I've never ever seen anything like that in my life. I couldn't do the videos on Tuesday without laughing. It was just crazy.
I was staying over in Liverpool and I was buzzing. Obviously used to giggling away in the car. And the scenes with the stadium and all that, and everyone singing, it was nice to see. It reminded me of kind of Leicester when we won there 1-0, with all the fans going nuts above you and all that. It was brilliant to see. Johnny, where were you? Oh, well, I know where you were. You were in
Barrow.
Because he loves Barrow. Barrow, in fairness, I've been there a few times. All right. Where were you? Describe it. 2-2. Time.
Full time at Shrewsbury. 2-2.
It is full time. Sorry, I thought we were on about the Everton game. 2-10. What you want about? Shrewsbury 2, Liverpool 2. Yeah. What I want to know, everybody, get in the WhatsApp. Where were you when that second goal went in? Did you think it was Hayden? Because we did, and then we thought it was Lascelles, and then later even the club got it wrong. I want to know where everyone in the live chat and WhatsApp, the numbers on screen, 0747 649 7166. Where were you? Johnny, where were you?
I was in Barrows at a friend's house.
Barrow?
The friend's getting married, so he wanted people to get his part of the usher, family and usher, so I needed to get his suit sorted and measurements and all that, so it was absolutely brilliant. But no, I was actually sitting down in the front room and we were just having a bit of a chat, and there was 2 Newcastle fans and an Aston Villa fan in this room, and it was the weirdest minutes for a very long time, because Paul Merson was doing the game on Soccer Special, and it was all right actually, because from what he was saying was what I was gathering from looking at the Twitter of Newcastle fans TV, was that Everton were deserving to be 2-0. But one thing I will remember what he said is that Everton could make this 3, 4 or 5 if they wanted to be, and they just didn't really have that mentality of let's just finish it off as quick as possible. But in terms of the actual question, where was I? When it went 2-1, I was like, oh well, at least we've got a minute. They actually went to another game. I think it was like a League 2 game, and just before he gives you, oh, they've done it. One of them outs. And I'm thinking, that sounds like Paul Merson, that Patrick, like my friend. I'm like, oh shit, that's Paul Merson. I'm looking at my phone and going, is it Newcastle when they come back? And Jeff Stelling goes, there's been another goal at Goodison, and you would have thought that this comeback would never have happened. And I'm jumping all over with my friend Patrick, and his dog just jumps on the 2 of us, and we're absolutely buzzing. And then 30
dog limbs.
And then 30 seconds later, obviously Aston Villa then score, so we're all absolutely delighted, but absolutely crazy. But a bit like what Kyle was saying, I just couldn't stop laughing. Just could not stop laughing, because it's just typical Everton, isn't it?
The stand to the left of were giving it large all game, especially when they were turning. There was this bloke with a Peaky Blinders hat on for, because he's watched a couple of seasons of Peaky Blinders, thinks he's the big man, giving it large because he's 2-0 up. He wasn't there when he scored the second. Bless him. There was a couple of tweets on Twitter. Oh, easy 3 points and that. I don't think so. I mean, it's the jammiest thing I've ever seen, but. They didn't get the win, did they? Unlucky.
Rob, I'll come to you in a minute where you were. I was going to read out a couple of them. I was in a pub full of Borough fans, says Jack Chair. That would have been exciting, exotic, ecstasy, all MPs coming in. The legal kind, that is. So that would have been a good banter. Kenny says it was that bad he had to turn on South African TV. Wow, that must have been bad. And the greatest comeback since Jesus. If you're a religious man, says best Greg07, I think that says over there. And of course, get your WhatsApp in. We want to know your WhatsApps. We'll go to break shortly, but we hear from Rob.
Yes.
Where were you? Explain it.
No, this is honestly true. I was making my dinner at the time. I had
priorities.
How was the game on, Rob?
Well, I had BT Sports sort of version of Soccer Special on, and I went into the kitchen to make my tea, and I literally put some 4-minute mash in the microwave. I came back through the living room and found that we just scored for 2-1. And so I thought, yeah, okay, at least we've actually made an effort. At least we've got one goal. Thought nothing of it. Just thought it was a consolation. And then just the split second, like a few seconds later, all of a sudden they say 2-2, and I'm just jumping up and down, screaming, like in disbelief.
So,
and
draw, mash done, sorted.
Yeah. Two
live goals, mate. You've completed it on Tuesday night. Oh,
yeah. What do you make of the? I'm sure you've got a graphic, Mr. Thomas, but the goal. I mean, it was hard. You can't really. I mean, we couldn't say Kyle. We can't.
Well, I didn't think it went in initially.
I didn't know what was happening, and then it was like ping pong. It was in off the post. It came back in, and Calvert-Lewin actually takes takes Lejeune out. You seen that foul?
Yeah.
That was a red card for me, not a penalty. And obviously Lejeune's injured because of it. But it was good old-fashioned League Two scramble, goal line scramble. It was brilliant to see. And obviously we've seen the memes, Johnny, with little arms and behind the goal and riding
Olivier Bernard took the cake on that one, like with the toilet rollers for line and a little dinosaur with gloves on.
It was brilliant. But then you seen all the players, and I liked the players that ran straight to the fans because you could see it was just, they couldn't believe it, but it was mad, wasn't it?
It was, but what I will say is I think obviously it's all about the foul, but everything happened so quickly, and the referee did exceptionally well to make sure that the watchers beat, and because I think Everton were asking for a foul on Pickford because he had the ball in his hands. But what I will say is it's fantastic from Fernandes to get the shot in. Hayden's obviously capitalised by getting the shot, but we just never gave up. And Lejeune does exceptionally well. The only thing I will say is, and obviously we're going to have all these jokes about Pickford, but he panics. He panics. Like the shot that hits off the post, he then dives backwards from Hayden's shot. He's already in the net. And obviously if he had bigger arms, he would have caught the ball on the line or he would have saved it. But it was just panic. Look, Everton for me shouldn't. How at 2-0 they've managed to give us a point, I'll never know. But they never saved that attitude. They're not to give up. We haven't had that really in recent years, and we kind of got a little bit from the Rafa era. But that was absolutely exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. It was brilliant. In that we would have if someone offered me that beforehand with whatever happened before the game, of course he would have taken it.
I mean, it's not like Scousers to Rob, so we robbed them.
and here's a stat for you. It's the first time that we scored an injury time goal since Lejeune's first goal.
Yeah.
and then before then it was
Perez.
Saturday. Hayden.
Oh well, before Hayden Saturday. Yeah. So obviously there was a start of Perez against Tottenham.
I was just pulling your leg. Oh, that was for a last minute winner.
That was when Mitrovic and Perez were subbed on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's read out a couple of live chat. Remember, get your WhatsApp in after the break. So if you're on the live
it's
chat,
been dominated by the Takeover talk, Lee.
Get them WhatsApp messages through. If you want to talk about the Takeover, ask the lads questions. We'll want them on the WhatsApp. We'll read them after the break. Rubens will buy, says Senchi. Willie.
It's the Rubens brothers, isn't it? And look, from what we believe and what people are reporting, 80% will be obviously with the Saudi company, 10% the Reuben brothers, and 10% Amanda Staley. Look, we're obviously going to talk a bit more in depth about this, but has it got legs? Let's get your comments in. Has it got legs?
Get them in. Get the WhatsApp, and we're going to break a sec. And the final one says Lloyd says it's a fake over. Is it real? Is it not? We want your WhatsApp. The numbers on screen: 0747 649 716. We'll read a couple of them out after this short advert.
The Black and White Football Show, Sundays 6 to 8 p.m. in association with Newcastle Fans TV.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Nova Radio Northeast and across Newcastle Fans TV's platforms on YouTube and across all the socials as well. Thank you very much for tuning in, listening if you're on your drive home or you are hanging about and watching us on their socials as well. And we've got a couple of WhatsApp messages come through, so thank you very much for sending them in the break. Funny enough, we're actually going to be talking about Oxford in a moment, so get your live chat, get your WhatsApp messages coming through about Oxford. Rob,
Yes.
Michael from Brighton says, will Oxford put us out the FA Cup? I see what it means being at home, it's that potential banana skin. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we got away with it against Rochdale, didn't we? League One ground. The Sam Stadium, of course, very unhappy memories from 3 years ago there.
I remember exactly where I was in Tenerife and I was the only one.
Talk about an opposite. I was in Boundary Mills working.
I was in Tenerife, I was the only Newcastle fan, I had the Newcastle hat on, I had the Newcastle shirt on, and there was all plastic Man United fans.
During the match, I was practicing because I was in the music group at my church later that day. So yeah, that's what I was doing. Jumping on that bandwagon.
It is not so good playing. That was the first one. Thank you very much for that, Michael. The second question is about the takeover, actually.
What else?
We all, of course, Rob doesn't like the takeover. He's got his head down. As the questions come in, WhatsApp us. We'll answer them. The live chat was sometimes missing, so get them in the WhatsApp. Michelle from Tynemouth, that's not far from you.
Not far from NA29,
Will Ashley sell? Okay, you can have this one then. Will Ashley sell? Though there's too many companies inside Newcastle United.
I'm not sure. I cannot really speak much on the amount of companies in and around the football club. But all I know is if it is going to be sold, I mean, why not sooner? I mean,
if I think what you mean then, if there's loads of companies, isn't this inverted commas Saudi Mandasteri? They'll have to buy out each individual small company to get the top, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Think that's how it works. I mean, I'm no business genius.
I mean, I'd like to hope so. I might actually own in any part of the football club if this takeover is going to happen. But you know what it is? Every time I say, try not to get drawn in, but every time it happens, I don't know. I can't. Like I say, I'm not interested in the takeover, but I'll check my Twitter every 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm constantly on it. But hopefully, #Cans comes around soon. It'll be a bit better than this, hopefully, yeah?
Funny you should just mention Cans, because our man Sam is in the comments, and Sam's actually going to do something. So is Paul. If the takeover does happen, Paul has said that he will run down Northumberland Street butt naked. Not just that, Sam has now joined in, and Sam said he'll get loads of cans, go topless and start dancing around the Sir Bobby Robson statue.
So the first course of action in a takeover is to scare all of our subscribers away.
I'll get views, wouldn't it? Imagine it.
I don't think Paul and Sam running down the street half naked with each other is going to get many views.
I love Paul, but no, I'm alright, thanks, mate.
Sorry, Paul, the birds might be out for you.
Whenever it does happen, when Mike Ashley eventually vacates the club, then I think A&E departments around the country have to be on standby for an influx of people with alcohol poisoning.
I think it'll be like winning. I think it'll be like winning a title. I think it'll be that kind of, you know.
It'll be buzzing. It will be buzzing.
And obviously we'll talk more about it. So get your questions in WhatsApp only for the takeover. We'll want them through there. Right, let's crack on then. So we'll play clips shortly. We'll talk about the lineup. Then we'll jump to the clip for the Oxford reaction, which is Johnny, which he's only just found out tonight that it's him, and Brucey as well. But
nervous laugh.
The lineup, kind of whack that on screen. It was Carl Dahl on goal. That was to be expected. Nice to see Yedlin back, despite obviously with these the doubt at right wing back for all three of them. Fabian Schär was back, great to get him some minutes. Lascelles, Clark and Ritchie. Almiron, Longstaff and Bentaleb made his debut. Alan saint-Maximin, more on him later on in this part, and it was Joe Linton up top. A very strong side. Kyle, I know you were happy. Rob, Johnny, were you happy with that?
I was very happy. Very, very happy with the team. I would have liked to see Isaac Hayden probably in for Longstaff, just because I think Hayden's playing so well at the minute. But he has played a lot of football. And obviously Sean missed the Chelsea game, or most of the Chelsea game, didn't he? It was Shelby and Hayden that started that game. So apart from that, I wasn't really too surprised. I think obviously on the bench it was a couple of youngsters with a couple of players that just aren't going to get into our first 11. So like in terms of Christian Atsu as well, but no real complaints at all. It should have been enough to beat. It should have been enough to beat Oxford United. Rob?
Yeah, I was very happy with that starting 11. Sorry, Carl, could you just put it back on the starting 11 there?
So I've got a favourite
like I was thinking, it was great to see Bentaleb start, and I was just sort of thinking, for new signings when we get them in the summer, they have of course pre-season to sort of get the fitness up, get used to the environment that's around the club, and get used to the fans and everything. I think this was an ideal match, closest possible thing you could have to a friendly. For the likes of Bentaleb, new signings, Saint-Maximin who's just come back from injury to a certain extent. You could put Yedlin and Richie in that group. So I was really happy. It looked like Bruce certainly taking the cup seriously, because we really want that.
Good to see. It's been a nowadays he deserves a lot of praise for that, because his managers over the year, Pardew, Carver going to Leicester and playing a bunch of kids. Rafa did exactly the same, played kids and got hammered at Oxford.
My only problem with Chris Hughton was that he always never took the cup competition seriously.
So probably with Hughton though, he was trying to get in the Premier League. I could understand that a little bit.
But even after, before we got sacked in the Premier League,
we didn't play an FA Cup game.
No, he got sacked before.
No, I meant league. I meant by cup. Yeah, League Cup included.
Yeah, the League Cup we played Arsenal, got battered 4-0 with St James's.
Yeah,
it's not just us who get battered every day.
We even fielded a weekend team and beat Chelsea 4-3 at Stamford Bridge.
That was a great game. Yeah. Sammy Amiobi and all that, wasn't it?
Show Amiobi.
Sure. It was a very poor game with Oxford. I don't want to talk too much what happened during the game.
There wasn't much to talk about.
There wasn't much, but before we talk about the game, we've actually got a WhatsApp message which has come through again about the takeover. Johnny, you can have this one as well. David, thank you very much. This is from Mickleton. That's in Gloucestershire, I think that is. If we sell the consortium and have a substantial backing, do you replace Bruce immediately? I think that's a bit harsh. Do you replace Bruce immediately?
No, I wouldn't.
I think you've got to give him time.
No, from what the reports are saying as well, is that they would keep Steve Bruce as manager. I think that's everyone's going to be saying that, isn't it? I think what we need to kind of remember is that it wouldn't. I like to give managers a chance. I even gave Steve McLaren a chance, and that's telling me something. But I would give Steve Bruce the end of the season, and I would give him maybe the next season as well, and then you can kind of judge him from that. And if he isn't doing as well with the money and getting these players that he wants to bring in.
Mark Hughes, he was given a little bit of time when
Man City and their takeover came, and likes of Robinho came, and then he got a proper transfer window at the end of that summer, and you likes of Adebayor, Tevez, Bellamy, Shea Given, who left from Newcastle to Manchester City, Wayne Bridge. There was loads of players that were coming in, and I think you have to let Steve Bruce have that opportunity. If he's not doing what the board wants him to do, then maybe you can have that conversation. But at the minute, the fact that there is no takeover at the minute, I know the question is if there is, but at the minute you've got to just judge what Steve Bruce is doing right now, and right now he's doing a good job. So if he can get past Oxford, it'll be an even better job, mind. But it's a fair question, but let's focus on maybe getting past Oxford United next.
Yeah, because you know how football can change literally in a blink of an eye. We might get put out the FA Cup and we might lose 2 or 3 in a row. So it can change. Let's read out some of your live chat before we get on Oxford once again. So Sean Longstaff needs sold. And that's why he restarted.
Definitely not.
Doesn't need sold. He's underperforming, but he's a young lad, 22. I have to disagree.
Things can change.
Yeah. So Matty's having a better season, but next season might be the other way around. So I think he's a bit too young. I don't agree on that. And now it's the Premier League, says James Griffiths. I think he's getting a little bit carried away with that.
Just a little bit.
More Bins, Salmon's Black White Army, says Jack as well. Topless Cans obviously doing the rounds as well. Sean Longstaff needs love and support. He's still young.
Yeah, of course he does.
So do all the other players, even those who aren't performing well.
Yeah, and that's where you might put Joe Litton. I put Joe Litton's just a Ben in. He's only just turned 23, hasn't he?
And yet his Instagram just gets bombarded with abuse telling him to get out of the club, which is ridiculous.
It's probably like fans who go to the game, man. Right, let's crack on then. So it was a very poor game. As I say, I don't want to touch too much in terms of chances. In the first half, it was Saint-Maximin who beat a couple of men and drilled it low. The keeper Eastwood forces it wide for a corner. Joe Litton obviously had a chance in that first half, but overall, it was very poor. I would describe that. Again, we're not playing well, despite picking up results. Half time 0-0. Second half, I think we need to discuss Joe Linton in terms of a few things, to be honest with you. I mean, Kyle thought it was a penalty. Looking back on TV, kind of changed my mind because it wasn't a penalty.
I haven't actually seen it back.
No, it's not a penalty.
Yeah. It's not a penalty. Look, I was in level 7 yesterday, and
we actually saw that, haven't we?
Well, you go with all the bands, Alex.
You know what it was? It wasn't actually as many, believe it or not. It was mixed, very, very much mixed. But I couldn't believe it. When I went to VAR, I thought, well, yeah, it's going to be given now. And when they're still overturned, I thought, well, it must be a dive, and he wasn't even booked. So I was very surprised. But when looking back at it after the game, yeah, it was never a foul, and it was a good decision by the referee.
And then obviously he got clattered, he was bandaged, he was off the pitch, he was back on, he was back off, back on. He had a mixture of everything. And then 2 goals, looking back at it, they are offside, but one of them, Kyle, as a full house, obviously, which is fantastic as well. One of them, he has a right go. We don't want to talk about saint-maximin because I want to bring him up later, but he slots it back in, but saint-maximin, he's pointing, pass it earlier, and he has a go at him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to release that pass a little bit earlier, hasn't he?
Yeah, for me he has. Maximin was at fault for that because Jordan made a good run, which is something I've critiqued him for in the past. And to be fair, he took his finish really well. But yeah, he needed that pass earlier to score the goal to put win the lead. And if we take the lead in that game, I think we're pulled clear. I really do. I don't think Oxford would have had enough to get behind, because I think once the crowd got behind, we're in like a bit of... We're playing really well at the time. We're getting on top of them. Now we're 20-minute spell. If we'd have scored in that 10, we'd have scored 2 or 3. I really think that.
And obviously he has another one that's disallowed. I mean, it just wasn't his day. Obviously, Kyle have had this say on his golden chance. Rob, have you seen it?
Yes, yeah, I saw the highlights.
He's got to put that away, man. When Richie heads it down and it comes back to him, he's 10 yards out and he nearly hits me. And I'm in the gallery, you know what I mean? So that's... I know, because with strikers, we're not a Man City, we're not a Liverpool where they're going to have 6-7 chances. We'll have 1, 2 maximum. He's got to put that away, hasn't he?
Yeah. And you have to think, we have often said the service hasn't been the best to him so far this season. But I think it might have been one of those that took him by surprise. I'm not sure. It's one of those situations where, in reality, it's only about 0.6 of a second. He has time to think about it. And I'm sure, given that chance again, if he knows that's going to happen, then he's going to do everything different to try and get the ball in the back of the net.
As I say, we'll talk about saint-maximin because I want to leave him to the end of this section. But Oxford have really held the own. Me and Kyle disagreed. I thought they were counteracting, they were splitting one.
The comments agreed with was somewhere an Oxford fan said I should be a pundit after saying that. So I mean,
they scared my mind. They really did.
They came and they showed the cojones, as Troy Deeney would say. They really give it a go, and respect to them. And I'm not looking forward to travelling all the way down to Oxford on the Tuesday/Wednesday night to watch this again. Because I think with the crowd behind them and the car park behind them, it's going to be a hard evening for sure.
What do you make of their fans, Johnny? Because it was nice to see. I know it's 4.5 hour drive, man, and it's like there's how many was it? 7,000, 8,000?
I think it was about 6,000-7,000. But what I would say is that this is their big day out, and this is people.
Put West Ham out, didn't they?
In the League Cup, yeah, they did. And do you know what it was? If Oxford didn't actually win the game in the third round, Newcastle would have had a home game against Hartlepool United, which would have been interesting. And
would have been great for their
North-East, nice North-East derby. But it was Oxford United, and you've got to give credit to their fans, and made a lot of noise. And it's a long way, and it is their big day out. They've beaten the Sunderland, and obviously Sunderland's not that good for a league game, but for a cup game against a Premier League side, they're very,
full house as well.
Yeah, they're very much held their own. But the person that I've kind of really, I think, underestimated is Carl Robinson, the manager. Done a very good job at MK Dons. He's doing a great job now at Oxford. I'm amazed the Championship team hasn't took a chance on him, because he's been very, very good down in League 1 and League 2. I think
he does have Championship experience.
He has. Yeah. Did take MK Dons up to League 1, to the Championship rather. But I'm amazed that a team down the A19 didn't give him an opportunity when they got rid of Jack Ross. But he's doing a good job with Oxford. Oxford are just above Sunderland in the league, I think. Or I think they've got a game in hand, which they mean they can go above them. So he's definitely one to watch, and they're definitely a team to watch. I think they could end up being in the Championship next season.
Comes across as good man, Colin Robinson.
Yeah, very much so.
I want to talk about, me and Kyle again cover this on our videos as well, the individual performance in a second, but I want to talk about the substitutions, because I thought they were totally wrong. Rob?
Again.
But the substitutions, I think even still, given the strong starting 11 that we had.
Let me rephrase that. You're playing 5 at the back against the League One side. You're playing 1 up top.
But this...
And again, you've got options. Yes, I know the kids, Alan and Sorensen. Go and win that tie. Play 4 at the back. Play 2 up top.
I know, but this is a formation that these players are really familiar with, and to play that formation with the strength of players that they had in a formation in a formation that they're familiar with. I mean, this is a formation that beat Chelsea not long ago, and so I think although we did have chances, yes, but I think not to win the game, despite Oxford's well playedness. I think on our part, on the players, I think it was more or less duplicitous and necious.
And what does them words mean in English?
Well,
because we're not as clued up as you are.
Well, duplicitous is basically like a crime against.
I want someone not to Google it and start and try and type that.
It's like a law, basically.
So I want someone in the live chat to type that word and best you can spell that.
Duplicitous is breaking of a law. I'll even spell out for you. DUPLICITOUS.
Alright, countdown.
It gives them something to do that can twiddle their thumbs at home.
And funnily enough, I can give you the origin of the word necious. Funnily enough, it's the Latin word for nice.
Let's
just break it.
Swiftly move along.
And there is it's Rohan again. Thank you very much, Rohan, for sending your message. And he has another question for her. I've noticed that the Takeover rumours always start a follow-up pattern. Hey, you just noticed that, Rohan, are you? 1, leak to the press. Shock. 2, potential buyers set up business to transfer shares, and number 3, a statement from the potential buyers is to come. In my opinion, it just stinks, and you know what I think of that. He's got a point, any Johnny?
He has, but
same old.
It is, but like the one thing I will say, it will happen eventually. But I think we're always sceptical until whoever the new owner has the scarf inside St James and Mike actually hands him over the keys. It is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in the next week or so. I think it's a very big week for Newcastle as it is anyway, with obviously the transfer deadline day and the fact that there are rumours of this takeover. And Norwich is that's everyone's talking about other things, and we've actually got quite a big match on Saturday against the Norwich side too, bottom of the league. But it's a chance of us going up to 33 points if we're winning. You would think we'd only probably need 2 more wins to play Premier League football for another season.
Let's have a look at your live chat. Paul's not the biggest fan of Countdown, we'll say that politely. Sorry, Rob. That's Paul's words, not ours. Rob's favourite words are yes and no.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Set yourself up now.
That made me laugh as well. Yeah.
Sean needed to come off much more earlier. I want to talk about Sean in a sec. Maybe we'll have an eye at the top 3, says Kenny. If you want more takeover questions, get them in the WhatsApp 0747 649 7166. If you are driving about, obviously don't ring us because that's illegal unless you're hands free. And if you're watching on the socials, you can see the number on screen. Right, going back to Oxford once again. Should we be able to adapt and change the formation and play maybe 2 up top, Kyle?
We should be able to, but the answer is we can't really. We've tried it a couple of times this season where we've played 4-4-2 at Leicester, got hammered 5-0. We tried it at home.
We did it in pre-season as well.
Yeah, we did it in pre-season, and I just think it's been a situation that we've had for a while now. Rafa came in from Steve McLaren. McLaren played like 4-2-3-1 and played on the counter-attack and hope for the best. Rafa's came in, he played a similar shape, but very defensive, very organised, and it's been set up from when Rafa's came in where we're very defensive side, and every player that's been brought in has been brought in to do a job of a defensive nature as well as going forward. And I think just over time became more disciplined, and the players are just so used to playing this way. It's just like...
Is that negative though?
It can be seen as one because we're very one-dimensional. Like we've been like this for years. We haven't been able to break a team down very well. Like if a team just rocks up to St James's Park, plays, ironically, the way we play against teams, sits back and counters. We can't deal with that as a team because we aren't good enough on the ball over a good length of time to break these teams down and beat them. We have to sit back and invite them on and counter attack. We're better, ironically, without the ball, and it's something that's built up over a series of years. And I think the only way we're gonna get out of this is if we're bringing like an attacking manager in the future. I mean, I'm not saying Bruce out or anything like that. Don't say that, but I just think it's something that's been built in over a series of years, and because of Rafa bringing in the wing-back system last season, I think we haven't been able to get out of that. I think we could play 4-2-3-1 at a stretch because we've played that, but the core of that squad is used to a certain way of football, and that's the only way they can play. Very one-dimensional. Can't play to our strengths, but if we get undone, we don't have a plan B.
And that's to show everybody. That's it. Thank you very much, Kyle, for coming on.
Yeah, you tell us to talk, man.
Oh, well, that's what we wanted, it. Right, I just want to quickly mention, before we'll play a clip in a minute, but I forgot to mention this earlier. I kind of whacked that on for the viewers. The injury list in a minute. It's getting better. It can be better, don't get me wrong. But it's important. We'll talk more on transfers of getting 1 or 2 for the door. But Johnny, it's still a big injury. We've only got really one fit striker at the minute.
It looks like Carroll might be okay for Saturday with another week's rest. But it's just Joe Linton, and Joe Linton has played a lot of football. He probably could do with maybe a week's rest.
Drop Joe Linton.
Rest of the crack.
Resting him, Kyle.
That means dropping him? No, he's got to play every single week.
No, but the thing is, though, Kyle, at the minute we have spent a lot of money, so he is going to get a lot more chances. Look, he has improved over the last few games, in my personal opinion. So I do think he can be given a couple more opportunities. But we know Gale's out for a little while. We don't know what's going on with Muto. Carroll looks like the one that potentially can come back quite quickly. You look at defence, Kraft's out, Lejeune, we don't know how long he's going to be out. Dummett and Valens, obviously, we know all about them. Key, I think, will end up getting sold before the end of the transfer window.
We'll bring up all them as well. Yeah. Obviously, the Edlund one that you see on the graphic was done before Edlund played. We've got a clip as well, and this is the Oxford reaction. It is Johnny, and it is also Stevie Bruce. So take away, boys.
We're in the hat. That's the positive. A big well done to the supporters, and I think we're all just disappointed that we haven't given them something to shout about. We haven't played anywhere near well enough, and when you get days like today, from the first minute, we give the ball away, miscontrolled it, sloppy, too slow in position in the transition. So we're still in the hat. We'll look forward to the draw. We will be better on Tuesday, and I'll be convinced about that. But disappointed because we haven't played well enough today, and that's a sad indictment, unfortunately.
Not a good performance by Newcastle at all. Joe Linton got 2 goals, but both offside, of course, and Newcastle just ran out of legs, ran out of steam, ran out of energy. I don't know if all the games had just caught up on them, but it wasn't a good performance. Look, we're still in the FA Cup. That's probably the only bonus. Oxford probably had the better chances in the second half, and that's the worrying thing. If Oxford are getting the better chances in the FA Cup game, then you seriously have to look at why some of these players, like Christian Atsu's, maybe even your likes of DeAndre Edlund, should they be in the team because they're not playing well enough. With all the rumours going around about Mike Ashley maybe selling the football club, maybe was that distracted players, who knows, but Newcastle are still in the 4th round of the FA Cup. They're still in the FA Cup. The draw's on Monday, but it's going to be a tricky tie in a couple of weeks at the Kassam Stadium in Oxford.
That was Brucey, and that was some other fella that's hanging about outside streets. So that was Johnny, of course, as well. And we're going to talk about, before we go to the ad break, and again, get your WhatsApp in, we're going to be talking about transfers and takeovers in the final section. I want to bring up 2 players, and I think this is really, really nice from Kyle doing whack graphic on about saint-maximin with his tweet, and I think it takes a lot of cojones, I'll say politely, for a player to come out on social media and admit that he didn't have his greatest game. And I think this shows the kind of man that he is, because I haven't seen a Newcastle player come out and said this for quite a long time. He wasn't even at it on Twitter. He's seen a comment, he must have been searching. So it does prove that players do look at things like scoring. The players say what people have said about them on Twitter and socials, and Alan Saint-Maximin's seen this. I think you've got to commend him, haven't you? This is open up to anyone, this.
Yeah, for sure. I think football players are human, and they're not immune to maybe looking at comments and going, yeah, probably wasn't my greatest game, but I do feel a little bit sorry for him because I don't think he's fit. I generally don't. From what I've seen, he looks a slightly different player.
Well, he even admits that in the tweet if you look at it.
I just don't think he's fully fit. I do think he's been rushed back. I don't know if it's maybe the manager said to him, how's he feeling? So yeah, I feel fine. And he's probably thinking, I just want to play football for Newcastle United. I want to help the team. I want to support the fans. And you kind of, that's what I feel he's trying to get at. But let's see what he can do against Norwich. It'd be great if he could score the winner at St James's, because I think he'd get all the love and support. Because he, a bit like when Almiron scored, I think he'd be quite similar at that. If Joe Linton can do that, that'd be even better as well. So it's a big week, but I'm not going to give up on saint-maximin. I'm not going to give him Joe Linton.
It's one game. You're allowed to have a lot of one back.
Exactly.
Rob?
Yeah, I'm absolutely in awe of it. I don't think I've ever really seen anyone sort of so personal. Well, Mo Diame was rather self-critical, wasn't he, when we were in the Championship 2016-17?
I think he wouldn't tweet as quite blunt as that, mate.
Oh no, he'd always say, I need to improve and everything. But Saint-Maximin, he's gone out and been blunt. Well, you have to be blunt when you're only given about 160 characters, is it, for tweets? But yes, Saint-Maximin, hats off to him, because since when have we ever seen an individual footballer who earns several thousand pounds a week to do the job, and they actually hands up and they actually own up to their mistakes? It's great to see, and I fully believe that he will be learning from this during the week.
Cool. So that's Alan, and of course the other one is Sean. We've got to bring it up as well. I've seen a lot of it on social media. Look, I think it is deserved, don't get me wrong, but it's how you bounce back and have faith in them. We've obviously got two lads who are on the same village/town as him in North Shields in this studio as well, so going to obviously stick up for them all the way, of course. Kyle, what's happened to him?
Well, I think he shot himself in the foot, to be honest, when he started so well. Looking like a midfielder, looking like an in prime Michael Carrick, age 22. But no, for every faith he'll bounce back. As I said earlier on the show, he's had a major injury. He's only played 23 Premier League games in his career, or in all competitions, for Newcastle United, and I just think he needs a bit more time to sort it out, because there is a player there. He's a fantastic player on his day, and even there's been a couple of performances where he's been good this season. Chelsea, I thought he was okay. Tottenham away, he was excellent with Hayden in midfield. He's definitely capable. Obviously, Matty's taken more of the plaudits this season, which is fantastic. Matty's doing very well, but a future at Newcastle United for me is having both of these lads involved. I mean, a comment to sell him earlier, nonsense, to be honest. Got to keep Sean. Get them both on long-term deals, and the future is NE29, I'm afraid. I'll back them to the hilt. Good or bad, I will back them. I will admit, Sean probably had his worst game in a Newcastle shirt yesterday, and you probably know that he had a bad game yesterday, but I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon because of one game. He's a fantastic player, and I look to see him grow.
Oh, them words nearly slipped. What was the game that we both agreed that he was his best performance? It was a away game, remember? Which one was it? Was it Wolves?
Well, it said Wolves. It was probably the most disciplined performance.
It's got to be 8 that game, didn't it?
It did, because I thought him against Ruben Neves and João Moutinho, who have been fantastic for Wolves all season, I thought he did really, really well. I thought it was a tough game for him, but I thought he held his own, he got on the ball, and he looked a little bit like the old Sean Longstaff. Totally agree with Kyle, it wasn't his best performance yesterday. But Sam, who works obviously for the channel, done a fantastic article that I thoroughly recommend. Well, Kyle's dropped his can. He must have read something about
Takeover. It was a Takeover comment.
It was, but for me, it's a great article what Sam's written about Sean Longstaff.
Where can people find that?
On Newcastle Fans TV's website,
on the Facebook page. If you want to find it a bit easier.
Yeah, and it's a great article, because like Kyle said, he's not even played 30 games with Newcastle yet, and yes, Matty's probably got a bit more of a limelight, but he's got so much potential, and both of them got so much more potential. We've got to remember that he has had some good games this season, but I can't wait to see him develop and have that really good game. We go, there he is, there's Sean Longstaff back, because he has got that in him. However, I do think he needs an Isaac Hayden next to him. I do think he just needs someone with a little bit more experience who's playing well, and Isaac Hayden's playing exceptionally well at the minute. And I think maybe if he can just kind of bounce off him a little bit more, I think that will only benefit him for the future.
Before we go to the ad break, let's read some of your live chat out as well. How's Diarmy getting on? Couldn't tell you, Kenny. I don't think anyone else on this table watches.
Rob's going to try.
Rob's going to try. He's going to tell us.
It's something
Al Ahly.
Yeah, but how's he getting on? That's what he's
Qatar,
asking.
I don't know.
We don't watch the Qatar League. I don't think we get access to that.
Yeah.
We don't have BN Sports in this country legally anyway. Singer, lovely player. Young players play inconsistency, says Paul. I'll have to agree on that. You've got to give them a lad time. Character references are spot on. Yeah, a lot of people have looked at that. The boy's still young. Give him a break. He showed he can play in the Premier League last season, says Kenneth. And as well. And Sam says thank you for the plug.
Well, Sam, I'll see you next week at the Norwich game then.
Yes, Sam is up next week as well. Get your WhatsApp in, because the next show is probably a little bit exciting. We're going to be talking about transfers. We've got a little game coming on as well. So we want you involved in that too. And of course, we're going to be talking about the Takeover. See you in a couple of minutes. welcome back. This is Nova Radio in North East. Just before we get on to transfers as well, I just want to touch upon, we've got a few different rules happening tonight. I don't know if you've noticed this. Johnny's on the machine.
I mean, I'll be a bit worried if I haven't noticed you're presenting. Like,
my presenting's top notch. How are you finding it?
Absolutely sounds at the minute.
Get away. Right, Johnny, you can get in room.
No, I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, I've done a little bit of work with Rob, and I have to thank him, and also Ivan, who's on before as well. So yeah, that's 2 out of the 3 things I can do on the radio show.
And Kyle's running the stream. Everyone, let us know how Kyle's stream is running.
Let us know, because I don't think I'm doing very well. But yeah,
really bad. Let me know. And obviously, Rob's just taking a relaxed approach.
Well, I was supposed to be supervising Johnny, but it's a bit difficult when there's two
supervision.
When there's 2 screens right in between me and the controls. So yeah.
And some breaking news. I think we've seen some news that NBA star Kobe Bryant may have sadly passed away in a helicopter crash. So that is breaking tonight. Hopefully, if it is, thoughts to everyone affected by that. Transfers. We've got a couple of WhatsApp messages come through, and this is probably the most exciting part of the show because we'll get excited talking about players and stuff. And we've got one from Robert from Newton Aycliffe. I can never pronounce the Spanish striker. Paco Alcacer, if I've said that right.
Alcacer.
Yeah, my Spanish lingo isn't great. Those links won't go away. Haaland is rocking it in Dortmund since he's came in. Could we really get him? Rob, since you've pronounced him, can we get him? Because he's now second or third choice, isn't he?
Can't see it happening, to be honest. I think even he would settle for down the pecking order at Dortmund. He's a super sub. I think he's certainly loved here, and I think leaving Dortmund will be a massive risk for him. So, to be honest, I can't see it happening. And I would think that if he comes to Newcastle, you think there's got to be about 100 other clubs that he could easily fall, like 100 better clubs that he could easily fall into if he was to leave Dortmund.
Guaranteed first team football, I think, if he come. That's also from Carlisle, with Jermaine Defoe playing second fiddle. Could we get Defoe, Kyle?
Jermaine Defoe?
Yeah.
You want Jermaine Defoe?
I don't want Jermaine Defoe. Baz is asking, could we?
There's too much history there for me. No, Jermaine Defoe.
Even with Bradley Lowery, because he's done nice stuff with the Newcastle fans.
That aside, from a human side, fantastic bloke for what he did for Bradley Lowery. But from a footballing perspective, I can't forgive him for that goal.
That's really cool. I hate him. It was a fab goal.
Yeah.
We've got a nice message. No name, but thank you very much. To say, love the show, lads. Thank you very much. A lot of craft goes in from all over. Hope Newcastle fans get what they want or need with the takeover. He doesn't sound like a Newcastle fan, which is nice. Nice words. Right, let's talk about transfers, and we've got just short of 20 minutes. We'll try and get some takeover in there. So again, WhatsApp is for your takeover questions. Right. So with no strikers on score, and Johnny, you can have this one, and we need cover a left wing back also. Have you got any names that you can throw out there?
Danny Rose is the one that's been linked heavily. There are about 5 or 6 Premier League teams that have been linked with Danny Rose. Tottenham want a permanent move for Danny Rose. Danny Rose is more inclined to a loan deal, and so are Newcastle United. It is understood Newcastle would pay up to £2 million for a loan deal for Danny Rose. It would make more sense if he was to go up north. He is from Leeds. Teams like Bournemouth and Watford have also been linked as well. It seems like he's had a lot of, let's say, conversations with Jose Mourinho, and it hasn't really gone his way. So
wasn't in the match list, whatever.
He wasn't. I think that Danny Rose will be at a different club, if not on loan, a permanent move in January. But he did come out with a comment about 2 months ago saying, "I've still got 18 months left on my contract. I will be staying at Tottenham until my contract runs out." So I would like him personally. I think he's an improvement on what we've got. He's worked with Steve Bruce before, so you'll have that respect. You know what he wants from him. However, for me, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer, because especially the fact that we haven't got Jetro Willems, we haven't got Paul Dunn who can do a job there. I think for £2 million, I think it's a good deal for Newcastle, Danny Rose, and hopefully Tottenham as well. But we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, you want to get in the Euro squads as well, won't you?
Of course.
We'll play a little game. So Newcastle, we've got to try and whittle this down. Have 2 options from the Premier League, and I think realistically, I don't think Newcastle are going to be splashing the cash. There's no secret there. And Newcastle could go into the loan market and bring in 2 players. So what I want to do is a few people jump in, shout in, whether it's a yes or a no, and we're going to try and whittle it down. So we've got a left back position, and we're going to select players who aren't playing as much as what they would like because they have more realistic targets, and also strikers. Let's begin. I'm going to go all the way through as well. Apparently that was fake news. TMZ website was hacked. We've just got a WhatsApp message come through. It's fake news.
That's mad.
On Kobe Bryant.
That
Thank
is
God,
mad.
Thank God for that. So apologies about that. It's fake news. Fake news. We'll talk more on that soon. Left back then. We're going to try and nail this down. I want a first choice from everybody. Just shout yes. I'm going to whittle it down in a second choice. Who in this room would take Neil Taylor?
No.
No way.
No.
No.
Okay.
Not good enough.
Gatan. Pronounced that wrong. Bong.
No.
No.
No. Would you take Bernardo from Brighton?
Definitely not.
Not seen enough of them, so I'd say no.
No.
Leighton Baines?
No. Just
Over the
his
hill.
age.
Too much.
Just his age.
Too old, yeah.
Lewis Gibson return?
No.
Is it
Not
back
enough
up to Matt Ritchie?
Not enough experience.
No.
No.
Okay. Christian Fuchs?
Yes.
We've got one there.
Yes, I would take him as well.
Is he really an upgrade on Richie?
We'll come back to that. We'll discuss that shortly. Manchester City left back Angelino.
I don't rate him.
He had an okay game against Liverpool, but it was okay.
We're not going to get Zinchenko, so I think that's more realistic.
I would go maybe.
We'll put a circle on that.
I mean, if you're saying yes to Fuchs, then Angelino's probably better than Fuchs.
Okay, we all know Danny Rose. We're going to say yes to everybody. That's easy.
Yeah.
And the last one I've got is Arthur Musaku, who's a attacking left back.
No.
West Ham.
No.
He's just too inconsistent.
Okay, right then. So we've got to select 2 out of 3. I think the first choice is pretty obvious. Out of those lists, realistic Premier League left backs that make up Newcastle because not playing. Are we all going to say Danny Rose?
Yes.
I would say Danny Rose, yes.
Who, if we don't get Danny Rose, who's a realistic second choice? Would it be between Fuchs or Angelino? I personally think Angelino will come more than Fuchs.
I think you're right with that, Lee. I think Angelino would be more realistic in terms of he's not the case of he's not playing. I think Manchester City would allow him to have a loan deal for him to get more Premier League football. He's not going to get past Benjamin Mendy at the minute.
Or Zinchenko
when he fills in. So I think it would probably be good if we could possibly take him on loan. And plus age is on his side as well, where Fuchs, his age isn't on his side. I've got to be very careful how I pronounce that.
Don't worry, I'll pronounce it. Everyone saying Angelino or someone going to go Christian?
Yeah, I'll go with Angelino.
I would say Angelino as well.
If we don't get Danny Rose, a realistic target is Angelino from the Premier League. Are we right?
I mean, there's no links there.
There is no links.
Just to clarify.
These are players that are not playing and probably want to play first team. Newcastle do have 2 loan options.
The thing is, though, if we do get Angelino on loan, would you prefer Richie in left wing back?
I think it's just a backup to Richie.
Yeah, so
Angelino's not coming to Newcastle, be a backup for Matt Ritchie.
So currently, Angelino's backup at Man City.
What's third choice? Because Zinchenko fills in there.
The question is, would you rather be third choice for a team like Manchester City or second choice for a team like Newcastle? And I think for him at the minute under Guardiola and to the other players that are ahead of him, I think you'd rather be third choice than Manchester City, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, you want to be exposed, on the training pitch and everything in front of the best players, in front of the best managers, the best coaches.
Rose first, Angelino second. Right,
that's something you haven't mentioned before we move on from left backs. We've still got one out on loan. Out of Lazaro, best mates.
Not Joel Lawrence, Chris Natson, for God's sake, might fill in there one day. But anyways, move on to strikers, and we'll try and again whittle this down. Would you take Eddie Nketiah?
I think the lad's got potential.
Give us a yes or no.
I'll go yes.
Yes.
You would. Sam Sturridge from Bournemouth?
No.
Would you take Glenn Moore? He's not playing much.
No.
Just his age. Not a bad player, just the age.
For half a season. Okay,
yeah. We'll
end of the season.
Glenn Murray. Would you take Matteo Vidra?
No.
No.
Dwight Gale, number 2.
Funnily enough, on Football Manager 2013,
he's got on it.
Football Manager sort of predicted him to be like the next Ballon d'Or winners when Messi and Ronaldo retire.
Would you want a Class Giroud as a realistic signing?
Considering he's going to Inter, no.
Do you think he's definitely going to go?
Yeah.
Right, we'll cross him off. We're not going to go for Giroud.
Would have definitely taken him otherwise, but
it's been linked, but I think it's too much like Joe Litton. I think it's worse than Joe Litton. Not saying something.
Used to be.
He's Shola reincarnated him.
That's just poor Shola. Connor Wiggum?
No.
What about Everton striker Omar Nice?
Actually, he's not a bad shout off the bench.
No, I'd go no.
We'll put a circle around it. Billy Sharp?
No.
Leon Clark?
No.
Che Adams?
No.
Maybe.
Definitely not. 0 goals in 23 games. Move on, lads.
Isaac Success?
No.
Rob, don't do it.
No. I wasn't, but...
Andre Gray? A lot of substitutes for Watford.
Premier League experience.
I'd take Gray.
His missus is from around here, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. Albion Ajeti from West Ham?
No.
So we're going to whittle it down from Nketiah, Glenn Murray, Nais, Adams or Andre Gray. I don't say
I prefer Glenn Murray out of that.
I prefer Rondon out of all of them, to be honest.
I'll take Murray because he's Cumbrian, isn't he? I'll take Murray on loan for the rest of the season if Brighton allowed that. I would do that.
Yeah, well, I think more importantly, he knows how to score goals in the Premier League.
Remember, these are loans that we're looking at. So I'm going to put I'll probably take Glenn Murray first choice out of the ones that we've shortlisted. Nketiah, Murray, Adams, Gray or Nice.
It's not a great bunch, if we're being brutally honest. I think there's probably better players out there that we haven't thought of.
Rondon.
Yeah, but this is Premier League.
Yeah, but Rondon's
if you're
more
looking at
realistic.
Premier League options...
Because we've got 2 loans and we're not going to pull a Batshuayi out there, are we?
Che Adams is probably one.
So I'm going to say Murray.
I like Che Adams. I think he's young. He's done well at Burnley. I know it hasn't really worked for him at Southampton. Maybe he's...
Che Adams is your first pick.
0 goals in 23 games.
No, probably not. If I had to be really pushed on a first pick, I'd probably go Andre Gray.
Andre Gray?
Andre Gray for me.
Ooh, split. Second choice. I would probably say Nice. For me.
I would say Nice as well. He's got experience of being a sub.
Done alright at Hull, didn't he, when he went on loan?
Done alright at Hull, done alright at Everton. Under Ronald Koeman.
Rob, you got the deciding factor.
Nah, he's not bad. On his day, he's not bad. So I'd say he's a close second behind Murray, for me personally. But he's just too inconsistent.
Who's your second choice?
Well, Nias would be second choice behind Murray for me.
So some of us are saying Murray, some of us are saying Che Adams, Gray, and Nice. Let us know, of course, in the comments as well. We'll quickly whiz up, just give us some yes or no's on these because we'll try and whittle it down. Is Key going to leave, Johnny? This is the window.
Yes.
He is going to leave. Is Savé going to sit around and do nothing, Kyle?
Yes.
Okay. What about Orlando Aaron's, Rob? What's happening with them? We've got a 25-man squad that's full. You can't play it unless someone leaves. Unless Bruce deselects someone and brings them in. What's happening?
Well, I think if, firstly on the left wing back situation, what I wouldn't mind seeing is recall Aarons from the loan spell that he has.
Put him in.
And, well, use him as backup for Richie. That's what I wouldn't mind seeing,
if we
of
don't
course.
bring no one else in.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got...
Because he has played there pre-season.
Yeah, it's... Who would you take out, do you think?
Key, if he doesn't leave. I think it has to be.
Well, Key, but Bentaleb would come in for Key, wouldn't maybe?
No, there's 25-man now because Dummett and Williams are going to be deselected, aren't they?
Oh, so, okay.
Let's move on then. Is Mutu, Johnny, you can have this, is Mutu going to be staying until the end of the season?
I think he will be. I think, unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out. It's probably one of the few transfers in the last couple of years that Rafa brought in that just hasn't really worked. He obviously did well against Manchester United and loves playing against Leicester, but apart from that, we have not really seen anything really good from Yoshinori Muto, which is a real shame. But I don't think any club's going to take him now. I think it's probably more at the end of the season, unless his agent can persuade him to get a move now. But I think he's still slightly injured as well.
I think too short as well at the moment. Right then, Takeover. We've got 8 minutes to discuss it.
Superb.
Kyle, Takeover. Do you have any belief in any of this? Any of the stories?
I'm always the optimist on this channel, and usually it's quick to say no, but I'm gonna be the devil's advocate, if you will, because what gives us a bit of hope this time, Lee, is the sources it came from. Like, you can say it came from the Sun the first time round with the BCG group, and obviously the Sun or the Sun, but this time round it came from the Wall Street Journal, it came from the Guardian. It came from these are very reputable newspapers and very reputable online as well. So it's hard to say because with the past 2 years, well 3 years now since the club's been put up for sale, it's been every single transfer window where this has came through, and there's been Peter Kenyon twice, it's been Amanda Staveley now twice. There was a there was something that went viral on Twitter the Mexicans went viral on Twitter a couple of months ago, and BCG was the thing on Twitter. It's like Ashley's plan, and it had Bill Gates, Vince McMahon, God, it had everyone.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just time will tell. I know it's easy to say, oh, it's just another scam, it's another Keith Bishop thing, but I'm going to remain optimistic and hope something's going to come up. I mean, it's the hope that kills you with Newcastle United, it always is, but I want to be optimistic and hope for something to happen. I'm not going to say it's definitely going to happen and #cans and all that, but I want to be optimistic and say hopefully something does happen.
So with me, I'm not taking too much. I think it's noise, to be honest with you. For me, I think because with the Bentaleb group, we've done quite a few videos and they've done really well on YouTube as well.
Let's start that up again, Lee.
But we don't like doing too many transfer rumour videos. We're doing when I've got a bit of legs. I'm just holding on until it has a little bit more. For me, the media, I've touched upon this already. Rob, I'll come to you on this one. I absolutely love it because it gains traction, it gets clicks, it gets payday. But does it misrepresent the fans? Are they telling the fans misguidance? And do you not think they've got a duty? You want to get into journalism, would you do that?
Well, first...
Let me rephrase that. If your boss said you need to sell this story, would you sell a fake story?
Well, the first rule in the book of the Editor's Code of Practice Ipso is accuracy. That's the first rule in the book.
I knew that from me. I knew that from me media law last year.
That might be, but that's not the case with takeovers.
But
there's a lot of spins on it.
Well, there might be rumours which get reported on, and yes, there might be people sniffing around Newcastle. But for me personally, when you see a rumour story, it could be like Ashley's trying to dangle the carrot, and then as soon as you have these owners trying to get in within reach of that carrot, Ashley then goes, no, you're not having that carrot. You're not having that carrot. That's the way it feels like with these. Yes, I do think interest from these so-called interested buyers, I reckon they are genuine, but it's the fact that Ashley is really being stubborn in his part of the negotiations that is falling short of this. Well, I mean, I can't see this going through. I really hope I'm wrong. Really do hope I'm wrong. Yeah, even if there is genuine interest here, what are the chances of Ashley, demanding a price that's out of the buyer's interest?
I think he's been doing that for 3 years anyway.
So, yeah. What? Who's to say that's not? Who's to say that's going to happen again? So.
Johnny, will Mike Ashley be here in 10 years?
No.
Will be here in 5 years?
No.
Will be here in 2 years?
No.
When will he be gone?
I'm not saying that it's going to happen with this potential rumour. I don't know. I keep on saying this. I don't know. I've never really felt comfortable with Peter Kenyon. Peter Kenyon for me is like a kid that wants to buy a chocolate bar that doesn't have any money.
He reminded me he was quite sneaky, going behind.
I don't think it was even that. I just think it was literally he wanted to buy a football club. He didn't have the money to do it. He asked his mates if he could lend him the money so he could play with this toy, which being Newcastle United. And I think he probably got told that he could have this toy, and then they did their due diligence, and they're not having the toy anymore. Amanda Davies is just slightly more credible, probably because of the fact that she obviously broke a couple of deals with PSG, obviously Manchester City as well. I do think that there is more legs to it. I don't believe it's as close as what they're saying now. I think if it was as close as what people were saying, I think we would have heard more from the Ashley camp, as in, I think you would have heard more from him going, yeah, it is proper close this
They
time.
wouldn't say anything, mate. No comment all summer. And we have heard all this before, and as I said before, it is the hope that does kill you in this one. Because the BCG group were doing statements through Peter Redden, if you remember, saying, oh, this will happen, we're looking forward to running such a great club, and kind of way to speak and communicate with his fan base and give him with the world, basically. So we've seen all this before, so until an official statement comes out from the club, it's all hot air, to be honest.
Well, we'll do some live chat, and I just want to touch upon a little story which we brought up last night. I think it was worth mentioning. Let's have a look at the live chats for the last time. And Ideal says, silly cap. Hey, it's a lovely cap. Kenny says, now there's leaks, it could scupper the deal. There's always leaks, but it's whether you believe them. I just hope it doesn't run like the
It's always going to happen.
Yeah.
Someone gets ahead of it.
I just hope it's not like the Bentaleb where it's plastered everywhere. Liam thinks it's 90% done.
That's what the Guardian have said, to be fair.
I'm still conscious of that as well. Vivid also says there's been no cash signings done so far. It could mean that there was some truth in the takeover. Glenn Murray wants an 18-month deal. And then Dale also said Dale tried Bob's Beans. Bob's Beans. The big fella loves them. Bob's Beans and Margate. I just want to touch upon one other thing. It's got nothing to do with Newcastle United, and I brought this up to the lads last night. That was posted on the social media, and I think it deserves the respect and the highlight to bring this up. But former Huddersfield footballer Jordan Sinner sadly passed away last night. And further news have developed is that 3 men have been arrested in connection with an assault, which obviously led to him, and I must stress, allegedly, on the late night, on Friday night. He was left unconscious and so on, but sadly passed away after being on life support on Saturday night. And the game didn't go ahead with his local side. I do apologise, I don't know it off the top of my head.
Matlock Town.
Thank you, Rob, which is based in Nottingham, but horrible way. I think that's disgraceful, and I would like to say justice. I'm sure everyone on this table
For sure.
echoed that as well. And that's been your show tonight. Let me know how Johnny is on the show, on the machine, and me presenting, Rob and Kyle on the stream. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night. Take care.